Hello, welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Barrett MacDonald, joined today by David Tonen, CEO of BeResponsive Media. David, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today to chat with us here. Would you like to kick things off a little bit about who you are and what got you started on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, thanks for inviting me along, Barrett. It's good to, take a little bit of a diversion from the regular pace and cadence of, business life and management and have a conversation about it. So I'm looking forward to, the time we're going to spend together today. My background is that I have a degree in marketing from St. Mary's University here in Halifax, spent 20 years of my first chapter of my career working for Thomson Corporation, one of Canada's largest publishing organizations. Most of you would know it today as Thomson Reuters. And so I spent, that portion of my career doing sales, marketing, and different management type roles. And when I got into my early 40s, I had always had the seed of entrepreneurship in my soul, and decided, my wife and I kind of battled with, leaving the safety net of a corporate management job to doing entrepreneurship, which obviously is a big leap and lots of uncertainty there. But I did that at the age of 42 and I've never regretted it. It's been a good journey. And so started the precursor of BeResponsive, but then came together and took that business and kind of brought it together with my business partner's business, Garth Holmes, and we formed BeResponsive Media almost 10 years ago today. And we're a digital marketing agency based here in Bedford, Nova Scotia, and we just love helping our clients, communicate more effectively.
That's awesome, David. Thank you for sharing that insight. So when you think about it, it's been over 10 years now, from doing some quick math. What is one of the biggest misconceptions you came across in the beginning of owning a business and you still come into now? And what do you do to combat that?
Well, I think, just because you have a degree, a business degree, so a marketing degree, and just because I had done 20 years of sales, marketing, and management did not actually fully equip me to start and or lead a business. Like the whole cadence of entrepreneurship is so different than the cadence of doing a managerial role in a corporation. And there's so much risk. And there was risk when we started, and there's risk every single day and continues to be risk every single day. I don't think people look at you as a business owner and they think, oh, isn't it great that you have your own business and it's successful? And yeah, it's successful, but it comes every day, every week with unforeseen challenges and things that arise, whether it's the challenge of pricing properly, the challenge of hiring the best people, or the challenge of problem solving and working with clients, both good and challenging ones, right? So I think most people don't realize the amount of risk that a business owner invests in, and takes on as an entrepreneur. And when you least expect it, something new comes from around the corner that you weren't ready for. And so to answer your question, I don't know if you're ever ready. I mean, I think you just need to have a very positive mindset and an ability to take on challenges and be available to kind of stop and try to assess and then potentially change course or direction. I mean, it can be small things or it can be big things like COVID, which turns your whole, when the whole world shuts down, you don't know what business is going to look like the next day, let alone 6 months down the road. So I think you can't mitigate the risk. You can only just kind of manage and confront it as it comes up from around the corner.
Yeah, the uncertainty is just there, right? So all we can try to do is have a plan that's as nimble and rigid as can be, and just wake up every day and approach it. And I agree. On the surface, no one notices that at 3 o'clock in the morning we're waking up and writing down notes as a business owner. Like you can't really turn it off. So it's
Yep.
work all the time, which is fun. So when you think about the number of staff that you have, and I think you mentioned you're at the 7 or 8 mark right now, what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, one of the things I realize is that it's very difficult to find employees who take responsibility for their job and for the company in the same way as you do as an owner or as an entrepreneur, right? And you can't expect them to do that. But at the same point, if you find the right people who have the right, are very conscientious and have good, a good moral base to their work ethic, then you win. And I think we've gone, here at Be Responsive, we've gone through seasons of hiring great people and just hiring people that I thought were the good fit, a right fit or a good fit, but we're not. And, then it's the whole managing through that process to try to either impart or build into them so they can grow
Right.
into the role, or to, basically come to the realization that this isn't the best fit for them or for us, and try to figure out a good transition there. And so I think, things have changed a lot in our education system and in our culture, and ownership and responsibility are not always as, maybe as um, firm in the foundation as perhaps they might have been in years gone by. So it's really an interesting challenge when you're hiring to find people who have the right skills and the right commitment and the right passion for the role, so that they will then also be a good fit to you culturally. And so there's a lot of variables at play there to try to get that perfect mix.
Yeah, and when you think about recruiting and hiring and going through that process, what are some of those qualities that you look for in those staff? And then what do you do to foster that positive work environment that keeps them around for a long period of time?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously have to have certain levels of education or experience in the resume, but I'm also looking for a more comprehensive lifestyle. So, for example, I like seeing on resumes that where people are involved in the community in some role of volunteerism, right? Because it shows that they're not just all work, but they have some ownership and some commitment to impart into the community we live in. I mean, we run a business here. We're part of the community. Be Responsive is hiring people that live here locally. They work here in our office, but I want them to also feel like they're part of the community and they're giving back to the community, not just in where they spend their money, but where they spend their time and where they invest their skills in helping nonprofits or sports teams or community organizations in some way, shape, or form. So I love it when I can find the mix of people who are committed to their craft, committed to the company, and committed to the community.
That's the fantastic approach to it, right? Because when you look at those soft skills and what makes them a good human, then it's easy to teach and train some of those hard skills that might be lacking. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not the end of the world to go out
Anybody can
the.
learn to do digital ads. It's just a process. It helps if they have some aptitude for it, but at the same time, I'm also looking for them to look at, well, how does that make life better for a company that we're doing those ads for? How does that make our processes internally good? But then maybe how can they use that to help a nonprofit organization promote what they're doing, right? And so if they choose to do that. And so it's kind of a more holistic
Yeah,
application of their knowledge and their skills and their passions.
absolutely. So pretty busy what it is you're doing, and as an entrepreneur, what do you do to try to balance your personal life with the demands of running a growing business?
Well, I've put a couple things in place to really look after my mental and physical health. So, one thing, this device is something that kind of controls my time throughout the business day. But what I've done is I personally have shut off all notifications on my phone. That way, if I'm in a meeting, I don't have pinging, ringing, or dinging. I don't have the distraction. I can focus in on the task at hand and the person I'm meeting with. It also means that after hours, I don't need to be necessarily receiving notifications of new emails coming in, and I don't want the notifications of social media in my personal time unless I choose to take the time to do that. And
Right.
so basically, without having any notifications on my phone, doesn't mean that I'm not checking in with it, but I'm checking in when I choose, not when it's commanding my time. And I think really that side of it has been a big, you know, having that discipline has really helped me out a lot, so that I'm focusing on the things I need to that are work related when I'm working or choose to be working, and I'm focusing on things that are personal, like time with my wife or time with extended family or friends or whatever roles I'm in, that I'm completely into those things and not distracted with the business. And that hasn't always been the case, obviously, but the last 5 years particularly that has been my cadence, and it's been really good for my mental and physical health.
Well, that's the thing when it comes to time management and prioritizing is it's not one size fits all. It has to be what works for you
Yeah,
and what helps you like sleep at night and relax on the weekends
right.
is what it kind of comes down to. So when you think about the growth that you guys are experiencing, what do you attribute that growth to?
I attribute it to good processes. We've developed some really good processes that have helped us focus our sales, for one thing, on a particular couple sectors, and becoming, marketing experts in those sectors, and building out some of our connections and network in those sectors. But I also think that, I think our success is happening because I think we have invested in good people here, and I think having the stability that we've had. So like you and I talked about this before you started recording, that we have had a consistent team of staff for two plus years now, so no turnover. And I think when you have a good culture built with good skill set and people who like working together and work very collaboratively and creatively together, that actually has been had a really positive impact on the strength of the company and the work we do for our clients.
That's awesome. And when you think back over the last 10 plus years, if you were to start it all over again from square one, what would you do differently the next time around?
Um, I think, like I said to you, you can't quite prepare for what the entrepreneurial journey is, or what it's going to throw at you. I think one of the greatest personal blessings and and a good solid um, anchor for our business has become the point where where Garth and I, my business partner Garth Holmes, when him and I came together as business partners almost 10 years ago, as opposed to being a solopreneur trying to do it all myself. Having somebody who's a complete opposite from me in a good way, in process and in operations. Garth has really contributed stability to the organization administratively and operationally as the COO. And him being 15 years younger than me, he also knows and understands the technology that we're working with and can actually do it if called upon. Whereas I know what technology can do, but I can't do it. I can't build websites. I can't do LinkedIn ads. And I don't want to do that at this stage. I just want to build the strategy around it. So, like, I think what I would say to another entrepreneur is, and it's hard because I didn't have somebody that I immediately thought, oh, well, here's somebody that could be my business partner when I started it.
Right.
But I realized once I got into it about 3 years that I was a little bit in over my head and I couldn't do it all, and no one person can do it all. So having a business partner who's a complement to your skill set has made, in my situation, all the difference, because it's allowed me to focus on the areas where I'm really good and where my experience and my strengths lie and my passions lie, and he can do the same for his. But then the two of us coming together, that creates a really nice balance, and then building the team around it to fill in strategically and operationally and experientially some of the staffing roles to take on those things. Like, that's been spectacular. And having him as a partner has made really the greatest level of success. So the two as one, as opposed to one person trying to be it all themselves.
Which is awesome. So last kind of question I have for today is, someone who's watching at home and wanting to start their entrepreneurial journey, what's a piece of advice that you have to share with them?
Oh, well, that also is, you've got lots of good questions today. I guess I would say if you have that, see, I waited till I was 42. I only because to leave my corporate job and start the entrepreneurial journey. That seed of entrepreneurism and that passion to do it was there from my early 20s, but I always had this fear that I couldn't do it. So it was a self-esteem thing totally on my part. And so if you're sitting there and you're wondering, can I or can't I? You'll only know if you step out and do it. And I have one scenario too, where I was part of another business startup that didn't, work out well at all. So like there's no guarantees, but you have to try. And if you've got that seed of entrepreneurism, if you've got that excitement to try it, if you can look at what you're looking at as your business and say, is this a problem or is this a solution to somebody else's problem, or is this a product that's going to make someone's life better, and you're confident that it is, then take the step and start doing it. You can't prepare for it. You just need to take the leap of faith and do it. And you have to be prepared for the fact that it's not a 2-3 month, oh, is this going to work or not? Like it literally is a commitment. Like when I stepped out, my wife and I agreed that I was going to do a 2-year commitment to it to see if I liked it, B, could make it work, and C, if people would embrace what we were trying to do as a marketing agency to help them. And it took 2-3 years to really get a sense for, do I love this? And is it actually going to work to the point that I can make a living off of it? And it was in my case, but you can only know that. You can write great business plans, great marketing plans, but you can only know if you can do it and if it's going to be accepted, if you take the leap of faith and go. So I would say, if you think you want to do it and you've got that seed in your soul, go for it.
It's all about taking action is what it comes down to, and being purposeful
100%.
with that. So unless you cut the strings, you'll never truly know. So I agree with that. So David, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure having you on our interview series. And to those of you watching at home, I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thanks for having me.